So with your burnishing, we're not going to use the whole circle. We're just going to use like a part of it. Same concept as when you guys did value and when you did gradation. So you're going to take your lightest color, and maybe if you want to do like a new circle or something, like a smaller circle would be okay. We could try to make it look like it's 3D then. So go ahead and lightly do a little circle. Okay, so I've got my first layer on pretty light with my lightest color. Again, the same concept as when you're doing all of this other thing. The thing with burnishing is making it look like it's a painted surface. So it's going to be really, really painterly. It's going to be really, really dark. But we can't press the colored pencils really dark to start because we're not going to be able to layer them with all of the wax. So lightly first, then you're going to take your middle again. And if you remember shading a sphere, we have reflected light. So I'm actually going to place my middle pencil a little bit more to what a traditional sphere would be. So your highlight is here, so I'm going to leave that with my lightest color. Again, not pressing very hard. So I'm filling this in. Pencil is super, super sharp. Remember, if you're going to do anything rounded, I'm actually taking my pencil strokes curved. We're going to leave this spot down here a little lighter because of the reflected light. And then I'm going to take my dark, and remember that with your darks don't go everywhere. They just go a little bit. So I'm going to put my dark here and leave my reflected light at the bottom so we can make it look like a true sphere. So I'm going to press just a little harder with the dark. Now, all this does is look like a nice value transition. It's starting to look like a sphere. Leave this light, or this is your reflected light at the bottom. It's not your highlight, but it's your more of a middle value down here, and then your dark goes here in the middle. See how I'm taking my pencil strokes going to the sides like this. All right, now comes the burnish. Now that I've got all my layers on, I'm actually going to do it all over again. So I'm going to take my lightest. I'm going to press a little harder. Still transition. So as I'm coming into this area, I'm actually lifting up. Lift, lift, lift. I'm going to take my middle, press a little harder where the middle values are. And again, you're just making it look more like a painterly surface. So we shouldn't see any paper texture. We shouldn't see any white paper. Lift, lift, lift. And you're going to realize why we are doing a little area because this takes a little bit. I'm going to put my lightest down here at the bottom because I'm trying to make it look like a reflected light. I don't want it to be a highlight, so I'm just adding my lightest with it, and then I'm going to come back with my medium. I haven't put my dark on yet. If your edges look fuzzy, it's just because you don't have your pencil really sharp. Okay, now I'm going to put my darkest dark, and now I'm going to really press on it to move the wax and layer. Press and lift. So this is the second time I've went over it. I'm going to do a third, but I'm going to do a third with like my light in my middle just to let it blend. So I'm getting rid of all of that texture from the paper. I'm going to grab my middle again. back and forth until you can get a good painterly surface. Don't lose your highlights. Don't lose your reflected light down here. Now I'm really going to press the highlight in, and you guys can see that it's going to start looking like you painted it. Now, that looks pretty good, but my edges are really, really fuzzy. So I'm taking my sharpest pencil, or my darkest pencil, and I'm going to sharpen it really, really good. So if I want to go darker with my purple, I could actually throw a little bit of a dark blue in there. I'm going to go ahead and do that. It's not getting as dark as what I want. So I've got a dark blue pencil that I'm going to go right up against the edge and really lightly throw a dark blue in here. And then you're really going to see so this is technically a fourth pencil. Sometimes that happens that you might need to get it a little darker for that contrast. And you're noticing that even though I'm putting blue with the purple, that it doesn't really look blue. It's just the fact that it's getting like a darker purple. And now I can clean that up, and then we are good to go with the burnishing.